Hello there. It's time once again for my wrestling show where I ramble aimlessly for 20 minutes for really no point. Now, what are we talking about today? Hey Jim, what are we talking about today? Yeah, there's no one actually there, and I don't know anybody by the name of Jim. I say we talk about today the worst wrestler in modern wrestling, in the modern era of wrestling. Now, the modern era of wrestling started pretty much in 1984. So, before 1984, we're not going to get started in it. After 1984, that's what we're going to talk about. Who is the worst wrestler? Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say it's Ric Flair. I don't think it's Ric Flair. I mean, true, the man has wrestled basically the same match since 1989. And he rambles incoherently, stutters, and is completely off topic in 90% of his interviews. But in the ring, he's a great technician. So, well, out of the ring, he kind of rambles aimlessly and doesn't stay on task in the interview like great interviewers like Jake the Snake or Hulk Hogan did. And true, he pretty much wrestles the same match since 1989. His work from 84 to 89, though, puts him in a big category above that because he was really good in the ring, and that's before he started wrestling the same match over and over and over again, which he pretty much has done since 1989. So Ric Flair is not the worst wrestler. Now I know what you're going to say next. John Cena. Well, shut the fuck up. John Cena ain't that fucking bad. He's had some great matches with people over the years. He's got good wrestling ability. Whether the WWF lets him show it or not, he actually can be a good wrestler when he wants to. WWF doesn't let him show it. You can't blame him because I doubt he has creative control over his character. Yeah, he's been on top for way too long. Yeah, his gimmick is old and stale by now. But like I said, he doesn't have creative control over what he does. The WWF does. They tell him to do this, and he does it. He's good on the mic, though. And since 1989, that's been an important factor. Because the modern era of wrestling, you have to have a good physique, you have to be good on the mic, and you have to be good in the ring. Well, he's not great in the ring, but he can be. He's great on the mic, and he's got a good physique. So he actually is not that bad wrestler for the modern era. Now, if he went back to the 40s, could he wrestle? No, he'd be nowhere. Because talking didn't matter in those eras. You had managers to talk for people. You don't have managers anymore. So you have to be able to talk. And the people who can talk get places. So yeah, even if we stuck him back in the 70s, he wouldn't get anywhere. But for the modern era, he's good. For all you wrestling purists who say he's horrible in the ring, he's horrible, he's awful, go back to watching the fucking 50s wrestling, okay? You want to see great wrestling, go back to watching the 50s, when charisma didn't matter, and vocal skills didn't matter, and it didn't fucking matter. Go back to watching that shit. We'll stick to the modern era, where people talk, and people have charisma, and people have to be good, decent in the ring. Like John Cena is. He can talk, he's got the charisma, he's got the people, he's good. Same as Hogan. Well, Hogan was never great in the ring. He could put on a great match when he wanted to. Just look at WrestleMania 3 match, look at WrestleMania 6 match, look at WrestleMania 5 match. He could put on a great match, and he was actually a great wrestler in Japan. If you don't believe me, go look it up. I'm not going to show you fucking matches from Japan. So go fuck yourself, I don't care. But he was good on the mic, and that's what made Hogan good. So Hogan and Cena, no, they're not the worst wrestlers. So shut the fuck up, go back to worshiping at Ric Flair's fucking feet, saying he's the greatest ever, when if you watch Ric Flair, if you watch his matches, you'd realize, one, he's wrestled the same fucking match since 1989. 1989. The same match over and over and over again. Two, the guy rarely stays on topic during an interview. He rambles, he's incoherent half the time, he slurs his words, he's rarely on topic in an interview. Well, he's the most reliable and one of the hardest workers in the ring. He's not great on mic because he's rarely on topic. So if you want to bash me now because I bashed Ric Flair, well, go ahead. I don't really give a shit. He's not the greatest ever. Okay? And John Cena and Hogan aren't the worst ever. As I said, for all you purists, go back to watching wrestling in the 50s. Because let's face facts. Pure wrestling ability doesn't fucking matter anymore. If you don't have charisma and you don't have vocal ability. I mean, if pure wrestling mattered, Dean Malenko would be 100-time champion by now. Because he is probably the greatest pure wrestler to ever come into wrestling history. But you know what? He's not. Because the guy's got zero charisma. The guy can't fucking talk. All he can do is get in the ring and wrestle. Okay? That doesn't matter that much anymore. This is the modern era when talking matters. And he can't talk. Now, true, if we put Dean Malenko in a time machine and send him back in time to the 40s, yeah, he'd be champion because he's one of the greatest wrestlers. He's got some of the greatest wrestling ability ever to have. But let's face facts. Now it doesn't matter that much. I mean, Bret Hart, don't get me started on Bret Hart. Bret Hart is overrated, okay? Guy's great in the ring. But talking, he's monotone. Now, true, he's not as bad as Malenko, but God, a snail isn't as bad as Malenko is on the mic. Bret Hart, decent on the mic, but he's not great. He's no Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels doesn't have the wrestling ability of Hart, but he could talk better than Hart. I mean, the best ever would probably be Stone Cold. He stayed on topic during his interviews. He was actually a great wrestler. Maybe not during his time as Stone Cold Steve Austin, but back in WCW, he was still great on the mic. And he could still wrestle a hell of a match. I mean, he put on clinics in the ring with Ricky Steamboat and Sting. He could wrestle anyone to a good match in WCW, and he was good on the mic. He could also do that in ECW, where he was even better on the mic. But that's a whole nother topic about who the greatest is. And no, it's not Bret Hart. No, it's not Ric Flair. No, it's not Shawn Michaels. Because, why is it not Shawn Michaels? Because I don't fucking like Shawn Michaels, and this is my decision. So go fuck yourself. So who's the worst? We know it's not Hogan. We know it's not Cena. It's definitely not The Rock, okay? Triple H is definitely in the running for worst, in my opinion. And my opinion is the one that matters, because this is my video. Because Triple H, during his prime, just like Ric Flair, wrestled the same fucking match over and over again. But Triple H was decent on an interview. He could stay on topic. He didn't ramble. He didn't slur his words. He was decent on an interview. But he rambled for 30 minutes. His interviews were way too long, but that was WWF's fault. That was not his fault. He didn't say, I'm going to go talk for 30 minutes, and they say, go ahead. No. So he was decent on the mic. If his promos would have been a little bit shorter, he probably wouldn't have made the list so badly. But they tell him to ramble for 30 minutes, and he goes out and rambles for 30 minutes, and that got annoying. And he wrestled the same fucking match over and over again. But as Triple H turned face, he stopped wrestling the same match. Unlike Ric Flair, who'd face, heel, in between, anything, he'd wrestle the same match, okay? That's why I don't like Ric Flair. If you like Ric Flair, go fuck yourself. I don't care. If you like Triple H, I don't care. Okay, so who's the worst then? Well, this is probably a very long list. I mean, we got Giant Gonzalez, who lacked the mic skills, the physique, and the wrestling ability to be a good wrestler. But he had a manager, and during that time, managers were still okay. So, if we count the manager as part of him, which managers were part of wrestlers, he had the mic skills. He still lacked the physique and the wrestling ability, but he was a better wrestler than, let's say, the Great Khali, who, in a time where there are no managers, has a manager. And even when he tried not having a manager, people couldn't understand him. But I had trouble understanding Andre Giant. Andre Giant was great in the fucking ring. Great Khali is definitely one of the worst ever. I mean, the guy can't move. He can't wrestle. He botches a lot of moves. He has a manager to talk for him in a time where we don't have managers anymore. I mean, he's just horrible. But he's a big man. and he's got the physique. That's what makes Khali decent, is he's a big man and he's got the physique, so he can wrestle like a big man. And because he's a big man and he can wrestle like a big man, he doesn't need to move that much. Now, if Khali's not the worst, who is? Is it the Shockmaster? No, it's not the fucking Shockmaster. Okay, it's not the Shockmaster, because Shockmaster wrestled one match, so I'm not counting him as the worst. I'm also not counting on-air personalities, like Vince McMahon, Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler. So Jerry Lawler in his prime was actually really good. Jerry Lawler, Vince McMahon, Jim Ross, I'm not counting. I'm not counting David Arquette, he was never a full-time wrestler. I'm not counting Vince Russo. These guys to me aren't wrestlers, though they wrestled matches. They're not officially wrestlers. They're on-air personalities who occasionally wrestle a match. Same as managers who occasionally wrestle a match. They don't count. So with that being said, who is the worst? Kofi Kingston. The guy is boring on the mic. He's small, he's quick, he botches every fucking move he tries. He couldn't put on a good match if he wanted to. I mean, a few good matches he's had to be carried by good wrestlers. And that saying is Jack Swagger and Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, who are all good wrestlers, who have all carried Kofi Kingston's ass to a good match. The guy can't wrestle. He's had way too big of a push for someone who can't wrestle. He is bad on the mic. Well, he's got decent charisma. He botches every fucking move. I mean, that man is seriously going to hurt somebody one of these days. He's just horrible. Absolutely horrible. And why the WWF is giving him a push, I don't know. John Morrison should be getting a push. John Morrison's a great wrestler with great charisma and great mic ability. And instead they're using him to fight Sheamus, who I fucking hate. Not because he's a bad guy, but just because Sheamus is a fucking idiot. He can't wrestle. He is bland on the mic. And again, I think Alberto Del Rio, while he's decent in the ring, is getting pushed way too far too fast. But the worst wrestler, I think, is Kofi Kingston. He's bland on the mic. He's got a decent physique, but it's not great. And he botches every fucking move. I mean, his matches are just painful to watch. I mean, Khali, he can wrestle the big man and he can brawl, which makes him halfway decent. His matches are halfway entertaining, but Kingston, because he's not a big man, he can't wrestle as a big man, he's got to wrestle with speed, and, well, he's got decent speed, he botches everything. And people are going to say, no, he's not that bad, he's not as bad as the Warrior. The Warrior was enigmatic and had charisma oozing out of him. I mean, the Warrior could say boo and people would cheer him. He was that good. But Kingston, he's just been shoved down our throats and he's horrible. His matches are fucking painful. He can't sell. He botches moves. I mean, watching him from a wrestling standpoint is just painful to watch. I mean, he's going to seriously hurt somebody someday. So that's my opinion of who the worst in the business is. Who's the best? My guess is Sting or Stone Cold. Both are great on the mic. Both can put on a hell of a show in the ring. Both wrestled past their prime. I don't know if Sting's retired, but he should be. Both had the physique and the mic skills and the charisma and the ring ability to be great. But like I said, who's the worst? Kofi Kingston. I can't stand that fucker. And his matches are painful to watch. He can't sell moves. He botches moves. I don't know why people are behind him. They're like, he has charisma. It's like he's a Cool Runnings ripoff. He's painful to watch. But that's the show for this week. I don't know how long I've rambled because I can't see the thing. But that's all I'm going to talk about this week. Oh yeah, Triple H and The Undertaker are back. They're going to wrestle at WrestleMania. They're gonna come out in their walkers and go, "I'm Triple H." Oh yeah, I love that. They come back. I think I got time. I think we're only up to like 12 minutes. So I think I got time. I can talk to you about when they came back. Yeah, I know it was 2 weeks ago. But I found this hilarious when they come back. They're staring off in the ring, and so on and so forth. And Undertaker does this, which is his trademark. It means he's going to tombstone him. Great trademark. They know it means he's going to end him. Then Triple H does the suck it. Michael Cole, the brilliant announcer he is, says something about which one's going to feel the other one, or something like that. No, which one's going to force the other one to something. And it's like, Triple H is going to force The Undertaker to suck his dick? I can understand, The Undertaker does this, that's the end move. Suck it is not an end move. Suck it means you want him to suck his dick. Okay, I doubt Triple H is going to make The Undertaker at WrestleMania suck his dick in the middle of the ring. Now, if Undertaker wants a world championship, Triple H might make him suck his dick, because Triple H is in charge and he can do that shit. But it was just the way Michael Cole said it. It was hilarious. Ooh, by the way, I can't fucking stand Michael Cole. He's worse than Tony Schiavone ever was. Michael Cole is just horrible as an announcer anymore. I mean, he's worse than Tony Schiavone was. And Tony Schiavone was horrible. He'd ramble aimlessly about stuff that was just stupid shit. Michael Cole is just horrible. They made him into like a cartoon character. But anyways, that's the show for this week.